The following podcast contains naughty language and ridiculous situations. Listener discretion is advised.
New guest November just keeps on trucking. And tonight we are joined by a woman who is not only astute in her horror knowledge and prolific in her podcasting. And what's recently been brought to my attention is she is the Irish whiskey of the medium. But I'm sure she will school us on a thing or two or 10. We're a bunch of assholes. So after this cut by the duo known as Steeler's Wheel, welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
Welcome all you little zombies. You're listening to Trick or Treat Radio, starring the Deadites.
Welcome to episode 486 of Trick or Treat Radio. Trick or Treat Radio is the world's most dangerous podcast and is recorded in front of an undead studio audience here at Castle Wolfenstein, also at the Lair of Lost Swag within the Raven Chateau, also in Casa de 50, which is it looks like you're in an Argento film tonight, MZ. I like it. And also in the Lair of the Gods. We are once again, the four of us, broadcasting remotely, and we have a fifth tonight to round out the team. And as Raven Shadow so eloquently put it in the intro, we are joined by Rachel from the Zombie Grrlz. Rachel, welcome to Trick or Treat Radio. We're sorry.
Hi. Thank you for letting me invade the boys' party here. The sausage fridge ends tonight.
It's been that way for a long time, hasn't it?
About fucking time, Rachel.
For those of you who are just listening and not watching, everybody's in tuxes. It's very, very classy in here. Everyone's on their best behavior. No.
Just look at MZ. That's all you need to know. What are you wearing there, MZ? What's your shirt today? Dress for the occasion? Wicker Man. Okay, nice. I like it. All right, so we are joined by Rachel. We're going to dig in a little bit into what she's got going on over at the Zombie Grrlz, and but let me, right off the top here, let everyone know we're going to be talking about the film, as we found out last week, La Titane. It's Titane. We're going to be talking about that film from, I looked up how to pronounce her name. Let me try. Julia Ducournau, I believe is how you say it. I'm not French. I don't play a French person on TV or on the radio. So I apologize for how I butcher any French names tonight. But looking forward to talking about Titane, and it should be interesting. That's all I'm going to say. Should be interesting. Mm-hmm. And actually, Rachel had pointed out she had listened to our previous episode where we discussed Julia Ducournau's previous film, Raw. And it made me sort of pine for the old days because we're all in the same studio together. But I completely forgot about a couple things on that episode, and they were really kind of outstanding. First off, we started off with, we called it Wednesday Night Raw, and we were all doing wrestling impersonations and just playing it like it was like an episode of like Monday Night Raw, which just made me chuckle. And MZ does a good Stone Cold Steve Austin voice, which made me laugh.
Did I?
Yeah, you did. And then also during the Raw discussion, MZ brought out the gem that they had given the lead actress an actual rash, so it looks so real. They rubbed poison.
I remember. You know what? When you mentioned that Rachel here watched or listened to the episode, did you watch it or listen to it?
Listened. Mm-hmm.
Okay. The one thing that stuck out in my mind about that particular episode was me talking about the rash, and how it really looked good. I thought because I never heard of this director before. I thought she was going for like a Alejandro Jodorowsky type of thing where she allows realism into her films.
Right.
So that's why that's the direction that I was going, because I mean that was pretty sensational makeup. If that for it being fake.
If you heard him,
Sensational makeup.
Still unconvinced.
I'm standing by my statement.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think we
I am
said
standing by my original statement.
I think we said they induced a rash. They rubbed poison sumac all over her.
And it's like they really boxed Helena. Like they really cut off Sherilyn Fenn's arms and legs. Helena! Like she's really committed to her craft. She's suffering for her art. They cut her arms and legs off.
To be fair, I knew what you meant, MZ. Like when the scratching is so intense, you're like, how did that not just come off her body?
Right.
But no.
There is also some scratching in this. I guess we'll find out whether or not the makeup was real or not, MZ, later on, won't we?
Mhm.
Yes, we will.
All right.
Then again, at the same time, we will be going back to Jodorowsky in that regard too. So we'll continue.
Love it.
Should be interesting. So let me quickly, we got a couple comments in the chat room. Evil Corny, he says, nice Jack Skellington background, Rachel. So you got a fan?
Every day is Halloween. Yeah.
Or as we said yesterday in the Star Wars podcast, every day is Life Day, Raven Shadow.
Yeah.
You're a big fan of Life Day?
I'm not practicing.
I can't wait. It's almost time.
It was yesterday. Was Life Day. MZ, you missed it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yesterday was Life Day. I'll watch it this weekend.
How many times have you seen it at this point?
Oh God, maybe 20 times, maybe.
Oh my God!
It's the best thing it's the best thing Star Wars ever put out. Okay.
Oh God.
It's
Oh, God.
fantastic.
What is your favorite?
It's fantastic.
What's your favorite segment of that, MZ?
Oh God, probably the scenes with the main stars, like not of Star Wars, but of Hollywood. B. Arthur, Harvey Korman, Art Carney. The people who scream Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah, scream Star Wars.
The correct answer is Grandpa in the Weird Masturbatorium. That's the correct answer.
Yes. Yeah. His virtual porn machine. Yeah.
I've only seen that
Diane
once, and I
Carroll.
saw it with 104-degree temperature, so it was totally a fever dream.
Oh my God!
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm surprised
Lumpy in
you
the
ever came
Masturbatorium is locked in the old memory.
That's gonna be MZ
Yeah.
when he's fucking old.
that's me now. That was not now. That was me 10 years ago.
He was like, "That was me 10 minutes ago."
You do look relaxed.
Maybe Shadow was spit out when he was drinking. Oh man! By the way, speaking of Raven Shadow, Linus is hanging out. It's his evening, folks.
Oh, it's my dude.
Your dude from the UK.
Oh, it's my mate from across the pond.
Yeah.
He's probably up at the pub getting a smoke right now. I like that.
And then Evil Corny says Arnold Schwarzenegger really had a robot skeleton for Terminator.
Yes.
But
Oh man, yeah, we could go on and on about all the people that suffered for their art. Man, that's why it's been so hard to find a replacement for Hugh Jackman. I think we even talked about this on the Raw episode because they can't find anyone with actual fucking claws like him.
True.
Oh man. So let me see. We do have some voice messages already. So, but if there's people watching live and they want to get in on the act, they want to send us a voice message. You have thoughts about the film Titane, or you just want to just spout nonsense. That's totally fine. We love that. You can just talk about whatever, or any of the films we've reviewed in the recent past or the distant past. Just let us know what's going on. And we always love hearing from folks. So we got a couple voice messages as of now. And if you guys are listening live and want to send more, feel free. Podcast at trickortreatradio.com. And we will be more than happy to play it later on in the show. Or if you if you have something for Rachel, if you're listening live and you want to send something for Rachel, go be my guest. Linus says, can't sleep, having a beer in bed. That's the spirit.
I love that dude so much. I love him.
Is he your spirit animal?
He might be. He's got to come over here. I got to come over there. We got to figure something out. Meet in the middle.
Meet in the ocean.
Just you and a couple of dinghies, huh?
Just drop.
Visit the Titanic way down there.
All right, Linus. If your mom can row over, my mom can row us back.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we'll get back to the nonsense in a moment, but we do have a guest, and I want to dive in and find out a little bit more about what Rachel has going on at the Zombie Grrlz podcast network. But before that, I want to let folks know how Rachel got to be on this show. And back in the day, I used to use a website called thehorrorclub.com. And the Horror Club would post all the VOD releases coming up. And I even got in contact with the webmaster, the person who curated it, and we talked back and forth. And I appreciated everything that he had done. And then all of a sudden, like, radio silence, and then he stopped updating the site. And I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? Because I relied on that site so much for all the VOD releases. So fast forward to maybe like a couple months later, I don't know. I was like, you know what? This sucks. I got to find another place that has a VOD calendar, like a really solid horror/genre VOD calendar. And I did a search, came up, I found the Zombie Grrlz. And I was like, oh, awesome. Let me check this out. I went to the VOD releases, and it was set up very similar to the Horror Club. And I'm like, this is awesome. This is exactly what I know. I'm going to use the site. Bookmarked it and have been using it literally every week for 4 years maybe. Something along those lines. I don't remember exactly how long, but we're talking probably 3-4 years. And it's come in hugely helpful for what we do on the show, for me programming and planning out the films, because I try to keep up, but it's so difficult. And I got tons of emails from all like these different companies talking about the films that they want reviewed and all this stuff. But I just like having pictures on a screen. I could scroll through and see the release dates. It's so helpful. So now, coming to present day, we're trying to figure out who to have on for New Guest November, since we're bringing it back. We didn't do it last year because of the pandemic. And we're bringing it back. And I was like, you know what? Let me check out, since I've been relying so much on this web page for VOD releases, let me reach out. And I actually didn't even know that you had podcasts at first. I was literally just using it for VOD. And then over time, just going to the site, I noticed that there are some podcasts on there. So I'm like, all right, I got to reach out. I got to see what's going on. Let's get someone from the Zombie Grrlz on. And spoke to Rachel. And Rachel was kind enough to join us. And so, yeah, or brave enough. Yeah, that might be better. So here you are, Rachel.
You think I'm locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. Well, first of all, thank you so much for plugging the VOD and streaming calendar. That thing is a labor of love, heavy on the labor. Yeah. So anytime someone says they like it, I mean, it's like you told me I'm so beautiful. Like, it means it touches my heart. I also used that Horror Club for years because, I'm a horror nerd and a horror podcaster, and like, it's hard to keep track of. There was like no centralized information about it. And so when that stopped, I was like, what is happening? And I decided to be the change I wanted to see in the world. And I started my own. I waited a few months to make sure he wasn't going to come back because I wasn't trying to step on toes, but he didn't. So I started it, and I've been working on it pretty much every day ever since. Yeah. I was like, this will be easy. I'll just throw this up, whatever. It'll be great for SEO. Flash forward, I'm like, oh my God. But the thing is it even, I'm glad it's a tool for you guys, but it's also like a really helpful tool for me, especially as like the peripheral, I can't talk. All of the streaming services came out. proliferation. There we go. I got there. Of streaming services. Like I need that centralized somewhere. So yeah. So that's how that came about, and I'm really, really, really happy that you find it helpful. Makes me really happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I use it a little less frequently now, but I'll usually book like a month ahead of time. But I'll always go back and see, or sometimes like I'll just randomly see if like something else got moved up, because I know lately a lot of things have been sort of like moving quickly. Yeah, it's been super helpful though. So I, for one, appreciate your efforts, and that's a lot of work. I will say that is a fuckload of work. So I appreciate it.
Oh, I'm so glad. That makes me really, really happy. Yeah.
And the other guys probably would appreciate it if they looked at it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Maybe I'll send you guys the link sometime.
Sorry.
Yeah. No.
I'll take that shrug as a thank you. Yeah.
And Raven Shadow Linus says deal. So apparently his mom will go halfway, and then your mom will bring you guys home.
That'll be awesome.
All right. So now that we've established the VOD calendar, I want you are very, as Raven Shadow pointed out, very prolific when it comes to podcasting. I actually wasn't able to listen to all of your shows. I tried to listen to.
I barely listen to them. Yeah, what can I expect other people to?
I tried to listen to a little bit of all of them, and the one. Let me just actually look up and see if I can find the actual episode. But there was one that I thought was super interesting, and it was from the More Deadly podcast, and you had an interview. Now I'm not finding it. It was from a director who did a film. It was from a film you did a last couple months, and I thought that it was super interesting. Let me find here.
It could have been either Danishka Eskerhazy, who directed the new Slumber Party Massacre, or
it was.
Was it Jennifer Reeder and Chloe Akuno from VHS?
Nope. It was the name of the
Carlson
film.
Young.
The name of the film was The Blazing World.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Carlson Young.
Yeah. So I found that super interesting and really cool discussion. So yeah, and I also listened to the most recent episode that you guys put out for the Zombie Grrlz, and that was also good.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So we have a handful of shows. Basically, I think it's like a pandemic trauma response. I'm just like making everyone podcast with me so that we have a reason to get together. Yeah. But so there's the Zombie Grrlz, which is the OG podcast. It's been around for like 10 years. And it's just like me and a group of my girlfriends talking about horror movies, kind of from a feminist perspective, potentially. We'll see how that goes tonight. And then Stream Queens is we review horror films that are on like streaming services, and mostly that's just me and a girlfriend of mine getting drunk and talking about horror movies. And More Deadly focuses specifically on women directors. That's why we sometimes speak to the directors themselves, but we focus on women directed films. And then there's the Untitled Nick Cage show, which I'm sure you can figure out from the title, the Untitled. And then finally, Cast of Caw is we're just going through the entire Dark Tower series by Stephen King, chapter by chapter.
Nice.
So very nerdy.
Yeah, I mean that's the way you got to do it. I have a Star Wars podcast to sort of offset the horror. So, but no, that's awesome. And so folks can find. I mean, obviously they can find you anywhere podcasts can be listened to. But if they go to zombiegrrlz.com. They will find all the podcasts linked there as well. So if you guys are interested in checking any of those out, go navigate to Zombie Grrlz, and that's Grrlz is Grrlz. So if you're interested,
Riot.
What's that?
It's inspired by Riot Grrlz.
There you go. Yeah, it's kind of what I figured. That's good. Evil Corny says I like the Nicolas Cage show.
Oh, thanks. That's really nice. Thank you so much. We just did Racing with the Moon, and I think next up we're going to do Family Man. I don't know. His one Christmas movie is next.
So is the idea you go ahead, MZ, go ahead.
I was going to say Nick Cage. I thought she said Nick Cave.
Oh. That would be a different show.
song by
Yeah,
song
what-
every episode.
Yeah.
Now, that would be pretty nerdy.
Yeah.
I don't have
Yeah.
that podcast yet, so maybe I should start it.
Yeah, the Red Right Hand podcast. There you go.
Yeah. Do like talk about Hellboy and Nick Cave, right?
Hmm.
Nick Cave and the Hellboys. There you go.
Nick Cave and the Hellboys, is that what you said? That's good. So let me see. Corny also said, I'm interested in seeing the film Knocking from listening to Rachel's podcast.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Hmm.
That's one that is on our list. In December, we do December Cram Jam, where we do 2 films a week because we normally do the one. And we try to just kind of cram in as many films as we can at the end so we can, put our best of list together. And that is one that is on our list. So we'll consider that one. But, yeah, very cool. So Corny has checked out some of your stuff. That's awesome, Corny.
Thanks, Corny.
He's a big cornball.
I checked out the episode 33, the Haxon episode of
Zombie Girls. Yeah.
Zombie Girl. And I liked it a lot. I was checking it out today, and I thought it was really interesting because of maybe my podcasting is limited, but a lot of the shows I listen to don't quite have the ensemble. I mean, aside from like us, where at our max we've had seven dudes at a time, which is probably why we ended up doing 3-hour episodes.
Right.
There's a crew of 4 on Force and Sensitive, but overall it's not more than 3 people. And I like that dynamic of your crew.
Aw.
And I thought it was not. I'm not saying like yes, you're much more intelligent than we are, but I like that dynamic quite a bit, and I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thanks so much. I like your podcast.
Oh, shucks. And that's actually really cool because I think I'm almost certain I have heard of the Zombie Girls podcast before, and I never made the connection from the website because I remember when we started doing it in 2012. Obviously, podcasting was still like there's a lot of podcasts out at that time, but that was still considered, that was like the teen years maybe now. And now we're in like midlife crisis where everyone is fucking doing it.
Much like the podcasters themselves.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So, so
I have also followed this trajectory.
so back then there was a lot fewer horror shows, and that's probably why we got picked for some like best of lists because there was only a handful back then, where now there's like a fucking glut of them, which is awesome. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's great to have choices, and but sometimes it can be difficult to get through the static because there's so much of it out there. So, yeah, it's just an interesting time in podcasting because literally, like everyone and their fucking grandmother has a podcast nowadays. You're kind of like not even a human being if you don't have a podcast these days.
Yeah. What's that joke? What do you call a group of 3 or more white men?
Yeah.
A podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I like that you're kind of driving a wedge in between that joke with what you got going on. So and yeah, I do like that you guys tackle things from more of a feminist bent. And it's interesting to see the trajectory of our show from when we started to where we are now. And I would say that most of us have, whether it's been kicking and screaming or gracefully, have sort of moved along with the times. And it's interesting to see the trajectory of how we view things now versus how we viewed them back then. So it's almost having this auditory journey of our growth, and I think that it's
same.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because some of the stuff we said in the early days, we definitely wouldn't be said now, and to the point where we actually used to do a video podcast before the audio, and I ended up taking all of it down because there's some stuff on there that maybe isn't so savory. It's not terrible, but could be taken out of context, I should say. So
Been
but
there.
yeah, but now we're doing like just for instance, I think I mentioned we did like Promising Young Woman, and we've done a lot of these other films that tackle toxic masculinity and feminism, and I feel like as a whole we are like kind of grasping how things should be as opposed to how they were. And I think that it's interesting kind of hear us talk about it. So we will kind of get into that a little bit when we talk about Titane, I'm sure. It's it's going to be an interesting discussion. I'll say that again. It's yeah. But yeah, I think it is interesting to kind of see the growth and to Raven Chat, I know you spoke about it, right?
About what?
Oh God.
On the spot. Say feminist thing.
No, I was with you to a point, but what did I speak about? Because I'm just give me a little coach.
Were you listening to a single word he said?
Yeah, we're not trying. I mean, there was some low hanging fruit. We're trying. Listen, you're just trying to tell a dick joke. Sometimes that's wrong. But we grow and evolve. If you watch wrestling, there was the Attitude Era, but we don't do that anymore. Trying.
Oh my God, you were just waiting for your turn to talk, right? That's what was happening.
A, always. B,
Yeah.
Johnny, send me a message.
Fuck are you talking?
Wow. I didn't think it was going to go there. I was just trying to get you involved. That's pretty much it.
Wait, whoa, Wolfie,
What?
how could you not know that wasn't going to go there? How could you, after 9+ years, how could you possibly know that? How could you possibly not know that was going to go there? How could you possibly not know?
Yeah, you could have redirected to me or MC. No, you went to Raven Shadow. You knew what was going to happen.
Guys, I know how to make myself look better, okay?
This is proof positive that you have learned nothing in the past
No.
decade.
He just said it. He's learned a lot because he made himself look great. So super intelligent.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah, and I do like talking about challenging films because I mean, I'll look at the ones we've done this year. Like I'm sure there's a whole host of others that we've talked about that, like even a film like Martyr's Lane. It doesn't really it tackles grief, and let's see, what else do we have here? I forget some of these movies. I'm like, what is this? Oh, Hunted was
That's a good side.
Hunted was a good one that I think was what brought up some really interesting discussion. Candido was another one. Censor, also very very good discussion. So yeah, I mean there's a lot of, and I like the challenging films, and that's why I'm actually glad that you chose this, because I was on the fence about whether or not we should do it because I hadn't seen it, so I didn't know, and I knew it would potentially be something that would be good for us to cover. And then when you called it out, I was like, yes, let's do that.
Yeah, I had just watched it and my neurons were like on fire, and I was like, oh, I'll just maybe put this out here because I need to purge. And you were on it, so I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. Have you talked about this on any of your shows yet?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. It's not out yet, but we did
Cool.
end up doing one on it. Yeah, because, I mean, to be honest, it was almost like a trial run for tonight because I just was like, how do I even organize my thoughts about this movie? Like, I just want to like scream into the mic, like, but I think I'm ready now. I think I'm ready.
I don't know if I'm ready, honestly.
No, just out of curiosity. Just out of curiosity, which one of the shows did you speak on?
It's going to be on More Deadly because it's woman directed. So, yeah, so we have,
I was just wondering if it was the drunk one or the,
I feel like this movie makes you feel like you're on in an altered state, so I'm gonna call Mulligan on that one.
The Altered State of Drugachusetts.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, Rave Channel?
I do. That was a little film.
Was that wasn't a film? What was it from? The Mr. Show, right? There's a skit on Mr. Show, I think.
Oh yeah, right. It was,
I declare this pizza to be awesome.
yeah, it was the knockoff of HR
HR Puff and stuff, yeah.
Yeah,
The Altered State of Drugachusetts, yeah.
HR shoving.
Anyways, another little sidebar there. So let's see. Trying to think of. Oh, also, Rachel, let folks know where they might be able to follow you on social media. If they, obviously they can find your shows. I'm sure they can find it on the website. But where can they find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me. You can find us anywhere at ZG Podcasts plural on Twitter, Instagram, all that jazz.
Cool. So everyone go follow and check it out.
Yeah.
And let's see. MZ, what was the thing you were going to talk about early on? I wanted to make sure we get that in here.
Oh, well, I just wanted to bring that Timo
Tijano.
Yeah, Timo, I'll call that. He is currently, he's going to be doing a reboot of Under Siege.
Interesting.
And I'm like, well, it's Timo, so there's like a 98% chance that it's going to be good.
Yeah.
But
wow. Okay, that's a weird film to be rebooted.
Yeah, right.
Are we talking the
Steven Seagal?
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know if I missed some weird Korean release of some movie. I don't know.
Yeah. The Steven Seagal joint. And it's an odd choice, but I mean, if anyone can make it work, it's Timo, and I mean, I just hope he just doesn't start making a career out of doing reboots or remakes or whatever, but we'll see how this goes. But
if it's even like 50% of The Night Comes for Us, I'm all on board.
Yeah, I might have to.
If he doesn't have like a goat god burst out of Steven Seagal, I'm out.
I don't assume that Steven Seagal is going to be in this, right? Because he's some crazy fucking Putin sidekick now or something like that. Living in Russia.
That's right.
I think we need to have a half-naked woman burst out of Steven Seagal in this movie.
Jesus.
Wow. Like a Geiger, like an alien, like do that. Yeah.
I don't know. However you want it. In the original, a girl busts out of a cake. I think we need to have a girl bust out of a Steven Seagal.
How about Steven Seagal bust out of the cake? Like
No.
You see him doing karate chops lately? It's pathetic.
Pathetic.
You wouldn't be able to break out of that damn thing.
Wow.
Steven Seagal.
That is pretty cool though. Timo is the fucking man, and always look forward to anything he's got coming out. So before we, Evil Corny just posted the Steven Seagal gif in the chat of him eating a carrot.
very disturbing for some reason.
Yeah, it is.
This cat. I need to see these gifs. I feel like I'm missing out. I have GIF FOMO. I didn't even know that was a thing, but I have it now.
If you go to
Steven Seagal carrot is a riot. It's disturbing at the same.
If you go to live, let me see. I think it's live.trickortreatradio.com. Yeah. I forget our own website. Yeah, live.trickortreatradio.com. You can see the chat room there.
Oh, man, I've cracked the code. I'm in the mainframe. You can't stop me now.
Oh, Linus just posted one of him using nunchucks.
Oh my god.
This is so good. Keep them coming.
Great.
The two of them on top of each other is perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's so good.
That sentence or dreams are made of.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we head to the shilling portion of the show where we talk about how you can support us, before we do that, I actually thought it might be, we don't often do this, but I thought it might be a good idea to ask Rachel some of her favorite films. So we can kind of maybe get a sort of a, like a, see where she's coming from, like where, her lens, where she's seeing films from. It doesn't have to be just strictly horror, but what is some of your favorites?
Well, my all-time favorite movie, and it's not even close, is Aliens.
Nice.
Number 1. Absolute. Number 2 is maybe Alien. Big Ripley head. I'm sad to report that Titane is maybe in the top 10.
Wow.
So we'll see what you guys all think about that when we get into it tonight. Let's see. What are some other horror films specifically that I love? I love Jennifer's Body. I know that's a controversial choice, although it's having a little bit of a resurgence. Let's see. The Thing, obviously. Carpenter.
Yeah.
Although MC, I have a friend named MC. I apologize. I kind of agree with you about Halloween. It's overhyped.
Hey,
Monster Zero.
He feels he feels validated.
As the role it plays in the genre, but let's just be honest with each other. I feel a little gaslit by everyone. Let's see, what else? I mean, those are things off the top of my head.
you're my favorite
In terms-
person.
Aw.
I just, Rachel, I feel obligated to tell you this. He's gonna rub one out to you saying that statement
oh my
tonight.
God.
Accomplished.
Oh my God.
I think
All right. I'm
this
just
is what it's all been building towards.
Aries, you made me face palm.
Aries,
I'm blushing.
Harry,
I'm sorry.
Harry, I finished. I finished 25 seconds ago.
That may be the kindest thing anyone has ever said. I've never felt more beautiful.
Oh my God. Wow.
I tend to like body horror a lot, which is part of why I love Titane. And anything like full core, I'm a huge full core nerd. So yeah, that's kind of my lens.
Have you seen the new documentary, the full core documentary? Yeah, I can't remember the name. Woodlands Dark. I can't remember the name of it.
Woodlands Dark and something deep. Yes,
Yeah.
I literally just watched that the other night, and it's fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's really, really great. Like if you want to nerd out on some folklore, that thing it takes you some places. It's good.
Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched. That's it.
That's the one. MZ,
I'm sure you'll be interested in checking that out.
Yes, definitely.
Because I know you're wearing the fucking Wicker Man shirt right now.
I am.
So yeah, I'm looking
You know
forward.
how I feel about Robin Hardy and his epic 1973 tale
Yes, we do.
of paganism. Oh, it's a great flick.
Oh my God, Corny posted Dr. Loomis face bombing in the GIF. Is that before or after he parked at a handicap spot?
I feel like that's a valid complaint. I don't know.
MZ, if we ever do another Halloween debate, you know who you're picking now, don't you?
Rachel is riding shotgun with me. Believe me.
Tag me and coach, or fourth metaphor.
Oh man! All right, so let's start to wrap this up because I am curious to talk about the film. So what we'll do is we'll do some quick ways on how you can support the show. So if you guys head on over to patreon.com/trickortreatradio, you will find our Patreon. And there you can join for as little as $2 a month and you can help support the show. You get access to some cool stuff, the Discord server. You get access to the Monster Piece Theater Movie Club, to the Blackout tapes Michael Ravenshadow hosts every several months. And also you can do your own Patreon takeover like Corny did just a couple weeks ago. And you get to come on and program the show. You pick one film and a topic or two films. So we are we will be getting to our next guest. So kind of coming back around since Corny was the first Patreon takeover and then he had his. So we're going to come back around and do everyone else again. So give it a look, patreon.com/trickortreatradio. And you have I didn't mention, you have access to all the Patreon exclusive episodes that we do. So give those a look. And also, other ways you can support trickortreatradio.com. You can scroll down, look for the Amazon logo. You click it, brings you to Amazon. Inputs our affiliate link. Raven Shadow, it doesn't cost them any extra.
But it's another way to help keep the lights on.
That's right. It's another way to help keep you involved in the show. I have to. It's like calling on like the student in class who like doesn't pay attention, just so he pays attention. You know.
Raven Shadow. Next week, I want you to say something different.
He'll say something different now. Literally.
Rather than help get the lights on, come up with something new.
Wow.
But that's the segment, Aries. That's the fucking bit. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? That's the thing. That's the thing people expect. If it's something different, that's a different segment.
I'm sorry. I tried.
You did. It was good effort.
I tried.
It's not the improv segment. It's the consistent segment.
It is, but okay. Do you imagine like everyone listening shouts another way to keep the lights on, like with you when you say that?
It's like his catchphrase.
Is that what you imagine?
First of all,
Do you think this is you shouting? Do you smell what the Rock is cooking? Is that what you think is happening?
Oh.
all Aries, don't embarrass me in front of Rachel, okay?
Too late. Too late.
Listen, no. A, I do. B,
Oh my god.
yes. You know, like, I feel like I'm Fonzie coming in the fucking, hey, everyone's clapping.
Yeah.
But like that.
Or like what was Bart's big line on that one episode? Eat my shorts, man, right?
My shorts, dude.
Yeah.
You know,
you think everyone at home is like that's got somebody extra and helps keep the lights on. Yeah! They're like
he's
cheering.
down in Alabama going, yeah. Dude. On his big screen TV. Yeah, no, I mean, I fucking think so. But apparently Aries is fucking popping my fucking bubble. And so fucking thanks.
You would get more interest if you could come up with something new every week.
All right, well, so it's another way to help fix my fucking driveway. How's that?
Well, no, well,
Is another way to help fucking
I'm sorry. Are you getting a paycheck from the show? Like,
Yeah.
pave your driveway? What the fuck?
Nice. It'd be nice. Fucking the roof costs fucking $5,000, Aries. Corny. Kick in, brother. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh my god.
sorry, Rachel. Aries is out of control.
I am not sorry, because you know what? This is fucking entertaining. People tune in to listen to me fucking shout at you.
It's been a long fucking 24 years, Rachel. I'll tell you.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Listen, don't yuck my yum. I'm having a good time here.
Linus just put in the chat, keep them lights on.
He knows. Okay. They invented America. How's that?
They invented America.
They
Oh my
invented
god.
it.
Yeah.
Did they drop the blueprints and then just come over and build it? Is that how it worked?
They did a spin-off. They kind of finished out.
It's like a spin-off series from Britain.
Yeah. It's like, it's all really rainy, cold and uptight here.
The series jumped the shark in the last 4 fucking years, though. I'll tell you that much.
Something. I can actually feel my IQ dropping listening to this ass.
Well, it must be pretty fucking low now, then.
Oh god.
Evil Cordy says, "Stay woke, Raven Shadow," and he says, "I'm embarrassed too, Aries." Oh shit! And Linus says, "That's exactly right, Raven Shadow. The spinoff. America the spinoff, not America the Beautiful. America the spinoff.
We're the Ropers of the world.
The Ropers? Is that what you said?
The Ropers, yes.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Linus says America is Britain's Frasier.
No, not Frasier, because Frasier was successful. We're the fucking Ropers.
We're Three's a crap. We're the Ropers.
MZ, no. Let's tap into MZ's knowledge of fucking sitcoms. What's the worst spin-off ever, MZ?
The worst spin-off?
Yeah.
Oh boy. The worst spinoff. I would probably have to say maybe Gloria. Maybe Gloria. I don't know.
Gloria. Okay, please explain that one.
Gloria was a spinoff of All in the Family, where Sally Struthers moves in to a house with her son Joey.
I can't believe this is happening.
Who Joey later, what was his name? Christian Jacobs, who grew up later to become the Bat Commander.
For Aquabats. Yeah, holy shit, yeah.
Yeah. And it starred Lou Richards and Burgess Meredith as well. And it lasted maybe 6 episodes, I think, or 12 episodes back in 1982, I think.
Rachel is dumbfounded. This fucking dude. He remembers every fucking obscure shit from 1980 and 1970, but he can't remember like what he fucking ate today.
I feel like I'm on the call with like the Bobby Fischer of sitcom knowledge. This is blowing my mind.
You're not wrong. You are literally not wrong. He is the fucking Bobby Fischer of sitcom knowledge.
I'm impressed.
Holy shit. We have like literally people have asked for us to do a segment where it's like 6 degrees of like sitcoms. Like MZ can just go, he literally could talk for hours straight about sitcoms.
Make it happen. The internet has spoken.
A little
Remember
bit
those sweet Patreon perks?
Oh my god. Wow. Linus says, wow, that knowledge. And he said he threw out the Michael Richards show.
Ooh, too soon.
Yeah,
Still too soon.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a spinoff.
True.
Yeah,
it's not the Kramer show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joni Loves
But
Chachi.
it was bad though. Joni Loves Chachi was mediocre at best. But then again, so was Happy Days. I was never a big Happy Days fan.
Ooh, bite your tongue.
Now, if you want to talk about one of the best, spinoffs, we could go to Family Matters. We could go to Just the 10 of Us. Those were good. The Jeffersons would probably top them all.
Fucking Mork, dude.
You fucking
Mork,
love
Yeah, see, I'd go
Jeffersons.
Mork and Laverne and Shirley.
Mindy, Laverne and Shirley. Sure. Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy, sure. Very good stuff.
This is how this shit happens. Now we're going to talk about sitcoms for an hour.
Sorry, Rachel.
No.
and-
I'm getting an education.
and-
This is the
And
Woodlands Dark.
we've derailed
phase
the
with which
derail.
to- Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm the asshole.
Yes. Thank you for steering us back.
You are.
Now who's keeping the lights on? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Getting pretty fucking laid out. I don't know. It's getting dark in here.
Wow. Okay. Where were we? Oh yeah, Amazon, and also trickortreatradio.com. You can click on store. We got the greatest hits of Trick or Treat Radio volumes 1 through 3, and we've been doing this for almost 9+ years now. And we don't expect you to go back and listen to every single episode. At this point, I think there's all told about 510 or something like that. So it's a lot of bullshit. But if you want to hear some highlights, some lowlights, some midlights, everything in between, the arguments, the interviews, the songs, you can check out those greatest hits and get a little sampler, Raven Shadow, right? Like you like your little Denny's sampler.
I'm so fucking hungry, Johnny.
You should call either well, I was gonna say you should call your mom or Marion and have them bring you pizza. And then I just realized that all the people that bring you shit are the women in your life.
I mean, there's
Them labor. Mm.
Why don't you ever call Al? Have him bring you a pizza.
Al's not bringing. No, Al's not doing that.
He doesn't love you.
No, he does. It depends. Yeah,
Is Al like Vincent in Titane? For some reason, I got a picture of your dad like the dad in Titane.
That's fucked up. No. Al's a lot of things. We've had a lot of things. Fucking, at least in my almost 45-year relationship with the man. But no, there's
Now I
nothing.
see them dance fighting and him shaving Raven Shadow. And...
Yeah, he showed you how to shave, right?
He did actually. Yeah. He always told me. He said Raven Shadow always side to side. I'm like, what the fuck? Really?
Side to side.
Against the grain.
Yeah.
Against the grain.
Side to side. What?
Well, that's why.
It's okay. My older brother, when he taught me how to shave, he said to always put cold water on your face first.
Okay.
And I always wondered why I had razor burn afterwards, and then I realized that you're not supposed to do that. I don't know if you just fucking punking me or not, but
and cold water. And actually, I had the shaving scene was kind of a weird trigger.
That was the one that got you.
That was
okay.
the trigger.
Okay, that's the biggest twist of the night.
I'm not saying maybe 1 through 10. I'm not saying top 5. I'm just saying there's a lot of triggers. I haven't used shaving cream in about 5 years. So
Linus says, "Remember when this was a horror podcast?" And then Evil Corny says, "Raven Shadow just needs theme music now that he has a couple catchphrases."
Oh no! It's already in his head. We don't need everyone else to hear it.
Well, first of all, Corny, yes, I always need theme music, and by a couple catchphrases, come on, dog. We're in double digits now, I think.
Yeah, he is just catchphrases.
You are a walking catchphrase.
Yeah, catchphrase carousel, baby. Come on.
All right. Speaking of the devil, Raven Shadow. What? I hope you didn't spit that on all. Like, what did you do? Come on, man. Like, you sat down to watch the film Titane. How do you fucking prepare for a movie like this? Come on, tell me.
I had a really bad day, Johnny. A lot of things were going on.
Oh, here we go.
I had some problems. And actually, yeah. And by the way, Rachel, don't say you had a bad day, because Aries is like the Angela Lansbury of the woods. Everywhere he goes, there's fucking death. So, okay.
No, I can't.
Did you say death?
You're killing our guest.
Angela Lansbury of the woods.
A heart attack for show's over.
I did not expect a Cabot Cove reference tonight, I have to say.
Oh my god.
So while I think I might have had a bad day, I totally know that Aries had a worse day, because ask him, he'll tell you. So I watched this movie. You know what? I like comedies. I like fucking The Ropers. I like Full of House over the fuck. So you better believe I strapped on.
The following message is a paid advertisement for the Cult of Muscle podcast. The Cult of Muscle. You're either in it or you're dead.
It's the dawning of a new age. The halls of Valhalla have been shuttered. The heroes of yore have either retreated to the shadows or taken to capering for the amusement of the small folk. Their past glories a distant memory. The barbells have been torn from their once puma-strong grips. The beards shorn from their square jaws, only to be transplanted onto flannel-clad, puny weaklings with fingers barely powerful enough to strum a ukulele. The time has come, my brothers, to restore order from the chaos. No longer will our heroes be forgotten. No longer will their great deeds be viewed through a foggy lens of irony. Hear now our rallying cry as we scream it from the mountaintops, as we bellow it from iTunes and Libsyn and Facebook. It's time to join the cult, my brothers. So don your cloaks and enter the Cult of Muscle.
I'm Alex West. And I'm Andrea Subasati, and we're from the Faculty of Horror podcast.
And you're listening to Trick or Treat Radio.
Oh, delicious nerds. Ms. M knows you like to chat it up with other sexy shut-ins about comics, movies, video games, and your favorite TV shows. If that sounds like you, cuddle up to the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group, or the FIB. That stands for Fan Interaction Board. Just go to Facebook and search for Trick or Treat Radio and have more fun than a Jedi at a lightsaber sale. Not enough? Watch us on YouTube, The Deadites TV, all one word. Last but not least, check out the world's most dangerous talk radio show, Trick or Treat Radio, at trickortreatradio.com.
I could be standing outside a woman's prison in a fistful of 50s and a bouquet of dildos, and no woman would come near me.
Did you say a bouquet of dildos?
We are back on Trick or Treat Radio. I'm still fucking laughing at Angela Lansbury of the Woods. Oh my fucking god! I went out to the kitchen and I was just laughing and T-Dog thought that I was crying, and even Ozzy, my dog, Whenever you're like laughing so hard, like and sounds like you're crying, he'll come up and like try to console you and like try to like calm you down. So he was like, he thought I was crying too. Oh man,
I know what that's like.
Yes. Okay, so we're gonna talk about Titane, and Titane from 2021 is rated R, and it is 1 hour 48 minutes. It is directed by Julia Ducournau and also written by Julia Ducournau as well.
They turned off. I don't know what happened.
Oh, can you not hear us, Rachel? Okay. So maybe have some technical difficulties there with Rachel, but we'll talk about the synopsis here. And the film stars Vincent Linden as Vincent, Agatha Roussel, or Rouzet, as Alexia, Garance Millier as Justine, and Bertrand Bonello as Alexia's father. The synopsis... do you have us back, by the way, Rachel? Can you hear us?
Yeah,
okay,
I do.
Cool,
Yep.
Cool.
Sorry about that.
No worries. The synopsis, when I read the synopsis last week, I was like, what the fuck? But now that I've seen it, you're right. I think you said in the chat room that it makes sense once you've seen it. Yeah. So following a series of unexplained crimes, a father is reunited with the son who has been missing for 10 years. Titane, a metal highly resistant to heat and corrosion with high tensile strength alloys. That is the synopsis.
I mean, it's not wrong.
No, it's not. I guess it's not wrong. Ooh, okay. So this film, and it is worth mentioning, and I think you mentioned this last week as well in the chat room, that Titane had won the Palme d'Or. It is the Golden Palm for the highest prize awarded at the Cannes Film Festival. So this film won the award in 2021. So that's kind of high praise. I mean, winning the Palme d'Or is a big deal. And the last one to win it was Parasite, which won it in 2019, which went on to win Best Picture. So, maybe. No, probably not, but maybe.
Maybe.
I do not see
in Rachel's America.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting to see where this one lands. But as I mentioned, directed by I had her name correctly. Now I feel like I'm saying it wrong, but Julia Ducournau, I believe is how you say it. And she had previously directed the film Raw, which we had done on the show a few years back in 2017. And other than that, she directed 2 episodes of Servant, which is the Apple TV Plus series that was created by M. Night Shyamalan, which I haven't seen. Has anyone seen that series, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Is it good?
It's surprisingly good, considering the M. Night of it all. And there's some pretty great body horror in it, and a lot of, like, advanced meat horror. As a vegetarian, I'm sure it'll get you. It'll get you. But it's really good, and her episodes are excellent.
Cool. Yeah, I'm curious to check that out. And I know it's had some really great talent who've directed episodes on it as well. So so that's really cool. So this is her follow-up to Raw, which got a lot of attention back in 2016. And oh boy, all right. So I guess Rachel kind of touched on this, but Rachel, what was it about this film that made you want to bring it on the show to discuss with us?
Okay. I mean, like I said at the top, that when you and I were talking, I had just seen it, and I was like, my body was on fire, and I just needed someone to talk about it with. And I was like, strangers on the internet. Perfect. This won't be weird. But also, I wanted to talk about it because I like it a lot. I like this movie a lot. I recognize this is the epitome of a not for everyone type of movie, but I think this is something probably you guys as horror fans can identify with, is weird, sort of, desensitized and dead inside from years and years and years of like inputting horror into our bodies. And so this movie gave me something that I crave, which is just to be completely rocked. And I think in addition to the shock value, which I could be really cheap, I actually think there's a lot of there with this movie, and I think it's a fun one to talk about and unpack, if kind of challenging, because it's a little bit like trying to hold on to like sand, because there's just so much happening in this movie. But yeah, I just thought it would be a really fun conversation, and I thought it would make Aries furious, and I'm not going to miss out on that opportunity. What am I, crazy?
A French film that is like has a very surreal sort of story. Yes, that's right in Aries' wheelhouse.
Sacre bleu.
So, all right, where do we start on this? This one is going to be a little difficult to avoid spoilers. I do want to try. Let's keep some of the things that happen towards the end a little vague. But I do want to talk about some of the themes that are present here, because I think that is what's important, and I don't think it'll take away from a viewing if someone hadn't seen the film previously. And in fact, it may give them sort of like a compass in which to sort of guide them while they're watching it, potentially. So I do want to actually check in with MZ first. So MZ, I know you are the resident gore fiend on the show, and you happen to like body horror. What were your first impressions about Titane?
Oh, there is a lot to unpack here. Well, the body horror in this is rather strong, almost surpassing a Cronenberg level, which is unheard of. So kudos to that. The gore in this film is rather, well, I guess it's successful in the fact that it's really, really bleak. It's not meant to be enjoyed at all. It's meant to be nasty, and it's meant to be vicious and gross. In a way that, Because there's some scenes in here that just rather made my skin crawl, you know.
Same.
But there was some that just made me shiver, and it's tough for a movie to do that, you know, because like Rach has said that we've all
Rach.
Hey, we're there. We're there. We're on that level.
Very.
There's no going back.
To take something very special to trigger that in us. In all of us, we'll soon find out. In me, a bit. Yeah, go ahead.
I will say that I agree. There was some scenes that were shocking. One I'll call out right off the bat. I was so uncomfortable watching when she was trying to break her nose. Oh my
yeah.
Oh yeah.
fuck.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
That was
and
tough.
also
that was tough.
yes, and let me be the first one to give kudos to Roselle for the drastic change in her appearance throughout the film. That is a very strong undertaking, especially if you're like a legit actress or a legit actor. You just the physical transformation she takes, not just not her body, but facially. I mean, because when you're an actor or an actress, you know, your face is everything, you know, and hats off to her, because what she did was very, very, very brave.
Yeah, it was,
and not too many would do that.
It's a pretty physical performance for sure, and that scene alone, when she's punching herself in the face, was difficult. But then when she looked down at the sink, I was like, no.
Yes.
And I don't have a visceral reaction like that very often to things like this, but I just was like, that was tough. That was fucking tough. And like that's just one off the top. So yeah, this is a movie. This is a fucking ride. Like well, I actually be curious to see what Arias says, because he's usually pretty good at guessing where films are going to go. I had no fucking clue, zero fucking clue where this was heading the entire way. And it turns, I would say, the first third of the film, the first act, is one style of film. And then I would say almost like the second and third act become another kind of film. And there is some sudden violence and gore in this, almost like Nicholas Winding Refn style. Like I felt like it was bordering on sort of the Refn style of like just sudden visceral violence in your face. So I got that sense. And then I also, like, we meet this kind of deplorable character, and along the way you end up kind of feeling for her, like in a way that maybe you don't realize you might, you know. And so I thought that was a really interesting sort of arc and journey that we go on here. The other thing I find interesting, and I'm not as in tune with French cinema as other folks out there, but I know that French cinema has long been sort of like this macho thing, you know, where it's, you know, like, and especially in the French extremity sort of like aspect of things, it was very, even though there was some strong performances by women in that, like High Tension and other stuff like that, it was still very, like, I felt like it was very masculine. I haven't seen a lot of those films recently, so I might be off base on that, but that's my kind of recollection of them. And in this, we're seeing a sort of like shift in that, like kind of turning on its head a little bit, and we get a woman who ends up playing a man, sort of by circumstance. Like wasn't her choice, you know, like it wasn't her choice necessarily. She was in this untenable situation where she needed to get away from it, and this was her out. And so I thought that was a really interesting and being in a firehouse with all these other men, and it was very masculine. And I thought that was also very interesting. So there's some themes here. I wish I would have done a little bit more research. I wish I would have watched some interviews with the director about this to find out a little bit more. But yeah, this is kind of, and I will call this a tour de force performance by the lead, Agatha Rousseau. And this must have been a very fucking difficult role to play, because she does play a very sort of feminine character and then a very masculine character. Because at the beginning, she is stripping. She's stripping on a car, basically, and we go from like this, once again, like, what is the epitome of masculinity is like cars and women, like, for a good portion of the world. And that's what we got in that one of those opening scenes, right? It's like it's like fucking muscle cars and naked women, like that is like the ultimate fucking masculine.
And objects of male fetishism, right? And then all shot like totally male gazy, totally. And then it changes, and it's really interesting the way that it plays with that gaze.
Yeah.
For the scene of the admirer, I'm using that air quotes, that goes through a window.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Don't roll the.
So, and one thing I did read about the director Julia Ducournau is apparently her parents were both doctors, and I imagine and she one quote I read was, growing up in that kind of environment, doctors, like, they look at the body differently. Like you see surgeries, you see all these things, you see everything about a body, and it doesn't faze you, So she kind of grew up like that. So I feel like, in a sense, she's kind of like showing others like how she saw the world growing up, which I think is kind of interesting, because, like, that's not, and in this we do get sort of like a fetishizing of, of like the cars and the women at the beginning, and and also there's some other scenes later on as well. So it is interesting to see that perspective being played up in this. But Raven Chat, I'm curious to to get your initial takes here.
It's I'm not the biggest body horror fan of body horror in the world. Maybe because I have mirrors in my house. I don't need any help. Some shit that I'm working out with. But this was fucking weird. Like, I remember reading the synopsis and then watching the picture and like what I thought, and where it went. But I think we're gonna go to a lot of. I definitely want to talk about the firehouse. I fucking definitely do. And there's a particular scene I definitely get to. But I definitely can't stress the performance of the main character. I'm sorry, what was her name again?
Agatha Rousseau?
I think it's
her real name.
It looks like Roselle or Rousseau. I assume since it's French, it might be Rousseau. I don't know.
In my mind's eye, I almost kind of went to the not that I'm and they're good movies. The original, the Girl with the Dragon like tattoo, the Sweden version. Almost like a Naomi. Was Naomi Rapace the original one? Rapace. I'm probably saying that wrong.
I know. Yeah. I'm not sure if she was the original, but I know she was in them.
What I meant was the Sweden version, the Swedish version of the character. I have seen them all, but she definitely transformed herself, and almost like even like Asami in Karando's Gunwoman. I mean, this was a fucking fearless fucking performance of a lead. Regardless, this couldn't have been fun to do. It wasn't like I get to be Iron Man and be whatnot, or I guess I'll be Thor. No, this was not fun to have head shaved and be pawed at. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. And it was some not fucking. It was fucking rough, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, for sure. Linus says, sure really brought it. Great performance. And he also says, yeah, it's like Tsukamoto levels of body wrongness. I could get with that, yeah. All right. The one we all been waiting for, Aries.
Yeah, I really felt like I was being punished by Johnny. I felt like I did something wrong. And that's why this movie was chosen. So I was a little shocked to hear that it was not Johnny that chose this movie.
I choose violence.
Yeah. This is not my movie. This right from the get-go, I knew this was not going to be my movie. I was a little shocked that I was actually interested in the movie for the first act of the movie. I was actually on board for the first act of this movie. And then this movie did not go where I thought it was going, and yeah, just kind of went off a cliff, and yeah, this movie lost me. As far as things that were mentioned, Johnny mentioned that the femininity and the masculinity. Femininity obviously was on par, but she more played she wasn't masculine. She was more of like the awkward male who didn't know his place. Not necessarily masculine, more of like didn't know whether he was straight, gay, male or female. Like that was the more of the role that character was playing to me.
I feel like
especially. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. I was going to say I feel like at that moment she was rushed into this decision, and it was almost like she was just like a clean slate, and she didn't know how to act or who to be or any of that. And I think that she kind of found her footing as the story advances.
Well, even because she was, exploring herself, in this new role, where it's not straight, not gay, not male, not female. Like it is just kind of this neutral form, and especially amongst the sea of very masculine firefighters.
Yeah.
And that is why I don't think that she necessarily played a masculine role. It was more of a neutral role.
But that's weird thing too about man, it's off Aries, but like, I mean, obviously dudes, it's fucking dudes are dudes. We're all dumb, which is fair to say.
Okay, when you mumble, no one understands what you say.
Well, he put himself down by saying that all men are dumb, so he didn't want to say it too loud.
No, we are idiots.
Say it or don't say it.
But like what? Like so, yeah. So there's various degrees of what is considered masculinity, right? Like there's like The Rock, Jason Momoa, and you are war. I'm putting you over now. There you go. How I did that there. But then you get fucking the polka dot man, or like me. There's different levels of Y chromosomes. But yeah, I think this character was more neutral and maybe I'm a dummy, but like, I thought it was funny when they got to the firehouse, which is almost like could have been a calendar shoot or a this week at Chip and it was like all dudes partying in their gear, smoking fucking butts, and then the callback to a previous life was an interesting scene. Maybe we're jumping.
Yeah, well, especially you had Vincent struggling to keep up with the younger people in the firehouse.
Yeah, it's so difficult to talk about this movie because it's gonna seem so obscure if you don't have a point of reference of having seen it. So it I definitely recommend people check it out, but it is going to be a little difficult to sort of orient ourselves in the discussion if you're not familiar. But it's interesting. So I want to go back a little bit to the beginning of the movie. So we have that scene at the very beginning, when we had a younger Alexia in the car with her dad, and in that I think we get a sense that Alexia, I don't know, like I don't know if she was just being a child and just, making sounds like a child would, or if there may have been something going on, like if she was maybe not quite there, if she's maybe on a spectrum, or something along
I
those
think she's
lines.
neurodivergent for sure. Sure.
Yeah.
And I think her father has a great amount of disdain for her. I mean, like, yes, she's being a little shit, but I think you see later with the adult relationship that she has with him that there is like a total lack of bond there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's what you're getting at. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I please just add, because you said it more eloquently than I could at that point. So, but yeah, that's it. And it's almost like she was willing the accident to happen, and just that opening scene where she gets out, she gets the titanium plate put in her head, and then when she comes out, her first reaction is to go like hug the car and kiss it, and so, yes, we can kind of see something might have changed within her during that, but there was also something there to begin with, so I thought that was an interesting way to show that. And clearly when she's older and she's murdering the fuck out of people, there is a disconnect there. And it's almost like she can't connect with humans. They're like, she doesn't understand them. She can't connect with them. And they're just, at that point she can just do what she wants to them. Like there's no connection to them. So she can just dismiss them by, sticking a knitting needle in their ear, And I thought that was, that setup was cool because we, granted it was fucking bloody and it was violent and it was vicious, but it was also this insight into her as a character and how her lack of connection with humanity, and that could be because of her relationship with her dad, as you had mentioned, and that's one thing I'm very keyed on because I recently just finished season 2 of Ted Lasso, which if people haven't seen it, it's fucking fantastic. But there's a lot of daddy issues in Ted Lasso. I think you'd like it, Raven Shadow. But okay, sorry.
Oh well, you guys talking about the cars and everything, and I'm like, all right, because it kind of, after everything else, when she got older. And she has her first victim. It's like, okay, you can tell she's really into cars, automobiles. She's imitating a car motor in the backseat of her father's car while he's driving.
Yep.
She runs out of the hospital to kiss the car, hug the car. We see her as a young woman dancing on top of a car. She has her first victim inside of a car. So, and I might be wrong. I don't know, but is there because it wasn't explicit or anything, so I'm not entirely certain. But I'm thinking this is where it was going, about herself, all by herself, in one of the fire engines. Am I reading that?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, well, she has sex with the car.
Okay.
Which I'm amazed we've gotten this far without people mentioning. She fucks the car in the first act, guys. I was like, are we going to make it all the way around the circle? We did. Okay, yeah. So she fucks the car.
Okay.
And,
I just wanted to make sure.
We just wanted you to say it, Rachel, so it wouldn't be weird.
Okay. The seal is broken. Keep it weird. But yeah, no, I mean, she is like clearly object sexual, right? And what I think is so interesting about this movie is that it takes place in a universe where she could become impregnated by a Cadillac.
Yeah.
And then we just move forward like it's nothing.
I know.
Like it doesn't, aside from the final beats of the movie and the fact that it like is sort of a ticking clock of tension and obviously like body transformation, like we never circle back to that car. We never really get any explanation. We never talk about it. Like we all know what happened, but it's in this universe, there's no need to even go there. And I just think it's really interesting that it's an inciting sort of it would be an inciting moment in most films. It is just one of the things that happens to her body in this movie, which I think is fascinating.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's a lot going on, and it's to the point too where like we see so much of her body. I feel like we get desensitized by it, and I think that was a kind of the point. Is by the end we've seen her body so many times that we're just we're just looking at a body at this point. There's nothing else there, like especially with, and I thought that was an interesting way to go about showing it. And the first time we see it, it is her like dancing on a car, basically fucking a car.
We're like 2 stirrups away from a pelvic exam in that first scene. And then, but then later, even though she's fully nude multiple times throughout the film, like the way that we look at her is totally divorced from sexuality.
Agreed. Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. And one other thing, as the resident subtext guy, I did want to point out the jacket, the jacket she was wearing when she walked in to dance on the car. I noticed had a lion on the back. And first of all, it reminded me of the Drive jacket, Ryan Gosling's jacket with the scorpion, slightly.
Interesting. Yeah.
But the main thing I got from it was the first thing that popped into my head was the tarot card strength of the lion. So to me that represented strength. I don't know if that was what the director had thought of, but that's kind of the first thing that came to me. So it's kind of an interesting way to show that. And she did come across as a very strong character. Like she's very confident in who she was at that time, But yeah, I think that is.
Yeah, I kind of was like apex predator because I was trying to decide, is she a sociopath or is she a shark? And I think maybe that lion is a little bit of a hint of where we're going with this. Like strength, yes, but also apex, queen of the jungle.
True. Yeah, and that's probably more apt. But it could be a combination thereof too.
See, I got a completely different vibe from that first act, where she, wanted to portray that, but she wasn't that. Where that she fled and cowered at the first sign of anything. Like someone was following her, she immediately started to run. There was no stand up for herself, and then she like backed down to this individual right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I mean, what I liked about it is it kind of played in sort of a sandbox we're familiar with, right? Like the sexualization with the gays, like all of that. And then we see kind of these beats that are familiar, like the woman being followed by a shadow, and then it's a man and he is aggressive with her. And then the movie sort of flips it on its head a little bit. And I think what it's doing is inviting you to kind of see her the way the world sees her. And then we get to see who she really is. That's how I took it. That was my interpretation. I don't think, but it's so subjective. Like,
well, I mean, I can accept that more. The fact that she was so submissive leading up to the second act, like it took the climax of the first act to make her, unleash what she is.
But I mean, she's been killing people. He's not her first victim. I've watched it a couple of times now, and the part where she's eating like lunch at home, you can hear a bunch of stuff over the TV, including the stuff about Alexia being missing. It's like the 10th anniversary of his gone missing.
Yeah,
a serial killer basically, and they're asking people in her city to stay calm, and she's just kind of watching it while eating hummus, which, I mean, boss bitch moves, but but I mean, the point is like she is a predator. Like she may appear to be defenseless, but she's not. She's not at all.
On first watch, I did not get that vibe.
It's a lot.
I will be perfectly honest with you. I will not tell you if I get that vibe in a second watch, because there will not be one.
Say that. You say that, but you never know.
I say that.
Couple more of those cheap whiskeys, and I might be able to play you.
Aries, I gotta ask.
You gotta put me over and tie me down to make me watch it again.
Wow.
Promises.
No.
So,
And it's funny, I was just about to ask Aries, did you watch this one with the missus? If you did, I'm sorry. Oh, man. So, all right, where else can we go with this one? Because there's a lot still to discuss.
Do you want to know a little background about how this movie came to be?
Please.
It's
yeah,
kind of interesting.
If you have it, absolutely.
Sure, I'm a nerd. So here we go. Basically, after Raw, she had crushing writer's block, crushing for years. And she found herself getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And she started having nightmares that she was giving birth to car parts a piece at a time. And so finally because she felt so much pressure to follow up Raw, and she felt like it was so misunderstood by people who just saw it as a cannibal film and not necessarily a dark comedy about uncomfortable desires and discovering like your sexual self. So she just decided to channel all of her anger and her nightmares into the making of this film. And so that is where a lot of the visuals of the motor oil and all of it came.
That's interesting, and that must have been some freaky fucking dreams.
Yeah. And she grew up in a house where they were cinephiles. Like you said, her parents were both doctors. Her mother was a gynecologist and her father was a dermatologist. And like you said, they had very frank discussions about the body around the house. But they also just put her in front of any movie. She grew up watching Cronenberg. She when she was in third grade, they needed to keep her busy while they had a dinner party, and they just put her in front of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So she has been So I mean, it all kind of starts to add up for it's kind of coming together. The puzzle pieces come together the more you hear about her upbringing, and I think
that's decent parent.
Right? I know, right?
Hey kid, watch some Texas Chainsaw. Here you go.
Happy Easter basket case. There you go.
Yeah, that is good insight though, and does sort of give some more context to what was going through her head, and literally she kind of in a sense birthed this movie, I guess, if you want to call it that. And one other thing I think was interesting is so we have Alexia, who has the plate in her head, the titanium plate, and then we have Vincent, who is a fireman, and we saw what Vincent's sort of kink was in a sense later on. I won't say what it is, just in case people. It was kind of a surprising scene for me, so I didn't want to call that out. And also, titanium can withstand great heat and fire, if I'm not mistaken, right? Mm-hmm. So I just thought, and sort of what comes from their relationship, what is literally birthed from their relationship, I thought was super interesting, an amalgamation of these two things. And that was one thing I thought was really great about the end. And then also just the relationship between those two, Vincent and Alexia. Obviously it starts out really as one thing and turns into something else, but also they connected in a way, and it's people who had difficulties connecting or had abandonment issues or whatever. They had some sort of issue that kept them from connecting, and they found one another and were able to connect despite the weird circumstances. And then they didn't care about their circumstances because that didn't matter. What mattered is that they found a connection. And there is something kind of really romantic about that, right? And also, I mean, we could go, I'm sure this isn't necessarily what the director meant, but your family isn't always your blood, right? You could find.
Oh, I think that's absolutely intentional. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I thought that there was some really great stuff there as well. And this film is really dense. I'm sure there is so much more to it than the things that we're just picking out here. But yeah, it's you know, like, it is a surreal film. It is one that does not exist in our reality, but you know, we've watched a lot of films like this where the sort of like the story behind it or the transformation that's happening isn't always realistic, and it's an allegory for something, you know. And in this case, I think it's a really bizarre one, but it's a really interesting one.
I mean, it's interesting because it's like set in a world, like a transhumanistic world, where there's isn't separation between like you know, machine and human, but also in the same way it explores gender. Like, you've talked a little bit about her androgyny as a character, like as an actor or in her performance, but I actually think a lot of that is also present in Vincent and the fireman. Like, Vincent is someone who has like very mask energy, very masculine job, very macho, very and you know, concerned about his virility and like, you know, keeping up with the boys, like you said. And yet all of his characteristics are extremely like stereotypically femme. Like, he's a nurturer, he is a caregiver, he is like a wound of emotion. And so I think she's playing with ideas of toxic masculinity there. Sorry, I'm taking your monocle now, Johnny. It's mine.
You can use it.
And then also with the firemen, like, yes, they present like super mask, right? But at the same time, they have these like almost homoerotic dance parties, which are like some of the best scenes. Like, that's where you get into the reffin of it all, right? The winding reffin. And I think that it's kind of playing in this like gender binary world where like you don't see them like importing a bunch of ladies into the firehouse. Like, they are perfectly happy to have their all dude dance parties, but that it's disconnected from their sexuality. I don't know. I just think she's kind of like disregarding all boundaries, which I think is really interesting. She to me is a fearless filmmaker, and I think part of what I love about her is that this thing is, like you said, is a wild ride. It is it's like a freight train of a movie that she somehow manages to keep on the rails, and I trust her to take me places, even though like it turns right and left, and you never know what the next turn is going to get. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it's really interesting, an exploration of gender. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you bring up some good points, especially in regard to the firehouse and yeah, they're perfectly content to have their shirtless dance parties, you know, like, and yeah, like it is an interesting look at gender, and you know, and this is, I think, films like this, I love that we're being able to examine gender and roles and toxic masculinity and things like this in film in a way that we can have this discussion. And it's, you know, like years ago, we wouldn't have been able to do this, or we wouldn't have been as knowledgeable, I guess I'd say. But
me, same.
yeah. So I think it's like a really interesting time, and you're right. Like, she is super fucking fearless, and to have made this film, and also like the fact that it won the Palme d'Or is fucking crazy. Like,
love it.
I would never have imagined that after you know, seen it now. So yeah, it's let me just catch up real quick. Chat room. Linus says, "Oh wow, that's really cool." I think it was in reference to you giving some backstory to how the film was, how she came up with the film. And first time Mike popped in. He says, "Evening family. Hi guys, and hello Rachel."
Hi.
He asks if we mind if he hangs out a while. Of course, first time Mike, you're always welcome. And he commented and said, "Family ain't just blood, is truth to me all day, every day."
Yeah. And I just want to apologize to MC because I know I just took the words right out of his mouth, and I didn't mean to step on you like that.
Please do it again. I do want to start to wind down.
Harm.
What's that, MZ?
No harm done.
No, no long-lasting harm. I do want to start to wind down a little bit as we start to kind of near the end, as we get to do the verdict. But as we discussed, this film is very dense. So I want to sort of see if there's anything else that you guys wanted to discuss that comes to mind whether it's any themes that we have left out, performances. I also thought Vincent had a great performance as well. So I know we've been talking
amazing
a lot about the character of Alexia, but yeah, I thought his performance was really good because he did show he was that, like had that veneer, like the facade of a masculine man, like, but he was a nurturer, and even like he had moments where he let his guard down a little bit more when he was like that scene where he started dancing, things like that. And yeah, he was did things that a father typically doesn't do to a son, right? Like reached over, held his hand, was hugging him, like gave him a kiss, like things like that. Like these are not the typical sort of things you would imagine a masculine like father doing to his son, especially an older son. In this case, I don't know what age the son was supposed to be, but I'm guessing about 20 to 25-ish. So that's not the kind of thing that you would imagine a father doing to his 20-year-old son or something like that. And
which is sad. It's actually really sad. Like that tenderness is like really beautiful, and it's kind of sad that that's true. But you're right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, his part of the problem I'm having with the disconnect between American and French is that I didn't quite grasp the cultural difference there. Like to me, in France, a man kissing another man on the cheek is natural. So this just seemed very natural to me, their relationship. So it didn't seem abnormal to me to view this in a French film.
And that's fair. Definitely. The other thing I want to point out is I think this is the first time I've ever seen a woman lactate motor oil.
Second for me.
Second?
I mean, that's some weird shit.
Wow.
You don't get out much, Johnny.
And yeah, now that we're talking about it, and Rachel has the ability to having seen it more than once to sort of see it with different eyes on that second watch. And there's some things now that we're discussing it that I didn't even realize. Like one of the things was the complete 180 from the way Alexia's body is shown in the movie. From the beginning, that scene on the car, to later on when she is like, like bent over, like in pain, and completely naked, and what's going on with her then, and even the end scene when I guess the climax, when that happens, like
that is a word you chose. Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of climax, I actually thought of that movie during some of the dance scenes for you, MC.
Yes.
I know you're a big fan of that movie.
That ran right through my mind too, as well.
And I did actually get a little. Definitely. I did get a little, being a big Stanley Kubrick fan. I do feel there was a little bit of Kubrick in this as well. And I know the Kubrick has inspired a lot of other directors, so maybe it was more of a Refn thing or something like that. But it's some of the lighting choices I think were very deliberate. There was a scene, I think if I recall, there was a scene with Vincent and Alexia, like when they were kind of like hugging, and it was like bathed in like a pink light or something like that.
Yeah.
So some of
in his pink bathroom.
Yeah. So there was some interesting sort of lighting decisions as well, and the way it was filmed, I think is great. Like it's a really beautiful film, and I think that's another. And like I'm certainly not saying that she is aping or copying Nicholas Winding Refn when I bring him up, but I think he is someone who does visceral violence, and his films are so goddamn beautiful. And I feel that this is sort of in that same light. Like there's some really shocking violence, but it's also beautifully filmed. So, I don't want to. I think Julia is her own entity, all her own, and I don't want to take that away. But it's just reminiscent of of his work for me in some cases.
Yeah, I was getting Brandon Cronenberg a bit.
Okay.
Like the scene with the roommates, I was like, ooh, Possessor.
Oh, yeah.
Big Possessor energy here. You too.
Yeah. Was there anything else you guys wanted to bring up? Any other scenes, themes, anything like that? No?
There were a couple of scenes there of real, not tension, but cringeworthy. That make you, ugh. And they both involve nipples. And then showers and lesbian scene, and just this director just draws them out to a point where you just can't take it anymore, and something's going to happen. You just don't know when. You hope it's soon, so it'll be over and done with. But the way this director uses that time frame for these scenes, it just plays it out to almost to an agonizing point, which admittedly probably when you think about it isn't very long, because I mean if your nipples are pierced and somebody's fucking around with them, it doesn't take much before. It doesn't take long before your toes start to curl and say, "Shit, what the fuck?" But good tension on those scenes. Not making it try to have any kind of sexual reference to it at all. Just the tension of those scenes were really well done.
Literally, literal tension.
Yeah. and just to call out the girl that you were referencing, the one who was in the nipple scenes, that was Grrlz Marillier, who was the lead in Raw.
So, fun fact, I don't know if you've noticed this, probably not because it's been a long time since you watched Raw, but all the characters have the same name as this.
Oh, yeah.
So she was Justine, and Alexia was the sister, and Adrienne was the roommate. So she's connecting these sort of connecting all of her films by, and her idea is that each of the films are not literally the same women in different places in their life, but it's like a woman is growing up, like the arc of a woman growing up is represented in these films, and that's why she continues to use the same names.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting, because I realized as I was reading, I'm like, wait, wasn't her name Justine in Raw? Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, yeah, that is pretty interesting.
I bring the facts that are fun.
I wonder where the hell Julia is going to go next. Like,
right?
You do Raw and then Titane, and then where do you go from there?
I was saying, I hope it's like a Nicholas Sparks or Hallmark movie, like Christmas movie. I feel like that would be like subversive for her at this point. That's how she transgresses.
Yeah. Oh, man, that would be funny. Anything else for you, Rachel, that comes to mind before we head to the verdict? Was there anything that wasn't tackled?
I feel like I've been talking a lot. I want to hear. I'm mostly interested in what you guys think.
Yeah, and that's why I thought I wasn't sure if there's anything else you wanted to bring up for discussion before we.
I mean, I do think that this is another interesting entry in sort of like the monstrous motherhood genre, like that she is both a monster and a mother, and then kind of like her sort of transformation and the way that it plays with the miracle of pregnancy, the way it kind of plays with the kind of grotesque parts of that are really interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of it for me.
It's interesting how you make the parallel of monster to mother, the same way the monster mother is in Aliens.
Yeah. For sure.
So there's definitely a parallel there.
Mm-hmm. And like the sort of being forced to carry to term.
Yeah.
Something, someone you don't want to is definitely a through line between both of those movies. And what happens to the abdomen is also a through line. Whew. The tearing.
I wish we could talk a little bit more about that scene, because I have questions about the end, but I just don't want to go there, because That's something that I think people should see on their own without anything. But yeah,
If you want to talk about a vulnerable performance, holy shit.
No shit.
You know, this is her first role too. That's the wild thing. This she's not an established actor. This is her first role.
Yeah.
And she some places.
She's not going to have any issues getting another role after this, that's for sure.
Right.
I guess one of the last things I want to bring up is the dance scene at the end when she is at the firehouse.
Oh, yeah.
It's a real interesting arc from that first dance scene to the end dance scene. I kind of I don't quite know what I think about that scene yet. That's why I wanted to see if anyone had any thoughts. I mean, was she embracing who she was at that moment and not afraid to show others, or was there something else going on?
I thought it was her, if she was going undercover, in this firehouse, it was her
coming out party.
No, well, I'm sure there's other dudes coming out that night, but you know what I mean. But it just seemed like she was she doing what came natural to the music in a different stage? It's still the performance, even if the stage is different. Is that wrong or douchey? If she was going so hiding out in.
Are you saying this is like Jonathan Cryer? John Cryer is hiding out.
It was like John
Cryer.
Wow.
Deep cut.
It was like that. It was just like that.
Just like that.
This is a sequel to that. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
this, but this is actually a sequel to that movie.
Hiding out, more hiding out. But no, was there something where when the music played and she was on a stage again, was there some of that instinct of that life or that former life?
I felt that too. I felt that at that point, because I wanted to make a reference to the soundtrack of this movie too, because I think this movie has a really good soundtrack. I think this particular scene is a little bit more simple than the deep dive of the entire film. This one particular scene, I always felt that what it was she just got lost in herself. She realized who she was again. She wanted to reconnect with who she really is. And because she's been played up to be a boy, a man or a man for a while now, and it's been shoved down her throat by working with the firefighters, by Vincent, and by everyone that she comes in contact with, by like the kids on the bus when they were making gestures and making. They were obviously talking about the girl that was sitting across the aisle from her, and not her, because nothing like who they would be saying, what they were saying, and so she knew that wasn't going to be directed towards her. So I think at this point, what it is that she's just rediscovering herself, and even though physically she knows she's a woman, and with Bambino, she's still being told that she's a boy, being convinced that she's a boy, dresses as a boy, but when she hears the music, she goes back to that time where she was dancing on the car, and it all just comes back to her, and she just gets lost in herself and essentially rediscovers herself.
I love that reading. I was more in the Raven Shadow camp, but I think you swayed me. I like that read. Yeah.
Oh,
I was like, she's a machine, and this is data that is being input into her, and so she is just sort of outputting the same sort of thing that she did before. But I do kind of like this idea of she's just been sort of revealed to Vincent who she really is,
Yep.
and then this is the scene that follows it, right? And so I think you nailed it, MZ.
Timestamp.
I'm the smartest man in the world.
Timestamp.
I'm the smartest man in the world.
First and only time. First and only time. How's it feel, MZ? It's been 9.5 years.
Oh boy.
Speech.
Aries hates me. It's official.
I will disprove his theory by the simple fact that she made no attempt to remove any of her clothing, so she was always conscious of the role she was playing.
Yeah, but she never removed any of her clothing when she was dancing on the car at the beginning of the film either.
But she was stripped down at that point. And she did pull back clothing.
We'll never know. Yeah, I wanted to bring that scene up because I thought that was sort of something we could talk about and kind of an interesting scene, and I think MZ has a good take on it. And that's kind of what I was thinking along those lines of, she has, and maybe she's something different at that point, and maybe she's integrated parts of her old self with her new, and so maybe that is why she left them on Aries. Maybe it's because she integrated both of these to become who she is at this moment. So, yeah, it's a tour de force performance for sure. Actually, Aries, I know you didn't like the movie necessarily, but what did you think of the performance by the lead?
She did an outstanding job performing the role that she was given. And to continue this argument, if she transcend into another being, the simple fact that she was performing a striptease-esque act, the clothing would be removed, regardless of whether she was stripping as a male or a female or as a different gender entirety.
It's
the fact that she was performing as a stripper, the clothing would have been removed.
Linus says, but she was pregnant with a car baby at that point.
It's true, yeah.
But MZ was saying she was losing herself.
But isn't it funny how the dances she was doing in a full jumpsuit, Ghostbusters firefighter jumpsuit?
It wasn't a jumpsuit. It was pants and a shirt.
All right, well, fine. Yeah, I mean, I like slacks, but she's doing all those things. Now, if her clothes were off and the firefighters knew she was a woman, they'd have been, at least some of them would have been into it. But she was doing all those steps, but being hit, shaved head, she was still performing.
Right. There was some ambiguity to it for them. I mean, she knew who she was, but they didn't. I think the one guy suspected, right? Like he had an idea, but the rest probably didn't know.
See, I don't think he had an idea. I think he was struggling with some own things internally because he made the comment. About you have to go back to your hole. Don't you feel the energy between us?
Yeah,
because you're a dude. The guy. That's how I took that scene.
Yeah,
how he felt something towards.
Yeah, I kind of got that as well. I got that. That he felt some energy between them or something like that. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I think there's a sort of a parallel here where where Vincent was kind of like a father figure to him, and then in came this sort of upstart and pushed him out.
Right.
But there's a scene after the Macarena scene, which I also can't believe we haven't touched on.
Oh my God.
The linchpin scene of this movie is set to the Macarena. That is how wild this movie is. But where he recognizes her in the back of the fire truck when he sees a picture of Alexia, he puts two and two together and he realizes who she is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The other scene, I guess the last scene that I have in mind I want to talk about is the scene with the mother. So Vincent's ex. I thought that was I felt like she knew from the beginning, but she also realized what this means to Vincent, so she didn't want to like burst the bubble. And like he had said something to the degree of, aren't you like, I don't remember exactly, but something like, aren't you happy to see your son, or something like that, something along those lines. I don't remember who said what, but and then when she walked in on Alexia, it was like, okay, like, I mean, clearly, you understand, but she knew before that, and I just thought that scene was really powerful as well, and what the mother told to Alexia. So, let me just check the chat room real quick. Evil Corny says, Linus, I kept wondering what the baby was going to come out as if it had, and if it had an undercoating.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Maybe like Turbo Teen, the old cartoon.
All right, so I think what we'll do now is we'll head to the verdict, and then if you guys think of anything else, obviously you can mention it there, but let's do that.
Trick or treat, baby. I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, it is verdict time. We're going to let you know whether Titane was a trick or a treat, and any final thoughts. Let's, I think it's pretty clear at this point, but let's start with our guest. Rachel, your verdict is?
Absolutely a trick. No, just kidding. Yeah, I think this movie is, it is definitely the deep end of the pool, but I think if you are someone who thinks you've seen it all, this movie proves that you haven't, and I think it's a big trick or treat.
He almost pulled an MZ. He has sometimes said really like glowing things about a movie, and then we get to the verdict. Trick, I hated it. Although it
I love a plot
twist. Good action trick.
Yeah, it hasn't happened in a while though, MZ. So, all right, so let's go to MZ.
Oh boy.
Correct.
It's well acted. It looks good. It's very well acted. It's got a good soundtrack. The cringe level is up there. The body horror level is up there. The violence and the gore level is somewhat up there. It's strange. It's bizarre. It's weird. It's surreal. But I could not find myself to liking it.
He did it.
He
did it. Just like what you said. I thought you were going to love this movie. That's what you said.
Explain. The structure of this film is very unusual. It just feels off to me. And look, I'm into weird, okay? Ask anybody who knows me. Ask these guys. They'll tell you I'm into weird. I like weird shit. I watch weird shit.
Yeah, his favorite movie is Butt Crack.
Favorite movie is Butt Crack. Yeah. Okay. And Greasy Strangler should have won Best Picture of 2016.
Yes.
It's and the lead actress is superb, and she puts herself through a lot, and she's got a great arc, but there's something about this film that just I could not connect with. It's the structure of the film just felt very, very wrong to me. There were a lot of things that I was kind of hoping that would happen that didn't happen. There were some areas in the film where I was hoping there would be closure. No closure. Some things I didn't fully understand. Now, I'm not going to pretend and say that I understood everything about this film. I certainly didn't. But it for some reason it just didn't appeal to me. I can understand why people are liking it, and when I put in my rating on Letterboxd, I noticed that it got a 3.8 out of 5. On IMDb, it's got like a 6.8 out of 10. So people are liking this film. I'm just one of those people that found it to be a little bit too much. It's well directed. It's well acted. It's got a lot of good going on it, but it just didn't appeal to me. I liked Raw. This one, not so much. I give this a tepid trick.
All right. Let's go to Aries to make it official.
I'm sorry. Tepid trick? What does that mean?
I think he means barely a trick. But
barely a trick. Yeah, that's what
barely,
I knew.
Okay.
It didn't sound right as soon as I said it, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The low end of a trick. I don't know. I just want a clarification. All right. So yeah, I haven't made it any secret. I did not care for this movie. There were aspects of it I did like, but unfortunately, there was so much I didn't like about this movie that it does not justify any, in my opinion, any reason to view this movie. I am sorry, you know what? Because I understand that people like this movie. I don't understand why people like this movie. I'm going to disagree with MZ in that aspect. I don't understand why people like this movie. Because, oh my God, this movie is all over the place. It cannot pick a direction for its own fault. It is trying to make statements that it doesn't deliver on. There's just too much of nothing going on. And the little bit of good in this movie is buried within the mess of this movie. I felt myself saying, what the fuck am I looking at? What am I seeing? What am I watching? Multiple times in this movie, it was just all over the place. I thought I fell asleep for a half hour and woke up to a different movie. Like, there was just so much madness going on in this movie, and the supernatural aspect of this movie was totally unnecessary and just an added I don't even know why you add that in this movie, because it was a minor little point in the beginning and a minor little point at the end, and it's like, what the fuck was that? You know what? I can't even don't even look at don't even just scroll past this. Don't even bother. This movie is 100% a trick.
Wow. All right.
And I apologize to Rachel.
No. I honestly,
I don't get it.
This movie is not for everyone, and I knew it. I just wanted to have a fun conversation, and even though you hated it, and I'm sorry it was torture to watch, this has been, I mean, I don't know, maybe this is my weird masochistic kink. I don't know. I'm enjoying this.
Well, you know what? I mean, it happens a lot on this show. I like disagreeing with people's views on movies.
You're a contrarian?
Oh my God.
He lives to argue. He lives.
You know what?
This is
you make me sound so important with that term. I love that. These guys just call me asshole. Thank you for that.
It's just funny, the things you hate, I'm like, yes, that's what I love. That's what I love about it.
But you know what? I'm on this show to disagree, to have discussions about movies. I hate when we all love a movie.
Yeah.
That is those are the boring shows, and I hate them. So as much as it drives me nuts, I love when Johnny picks a movie that I hate, because I'm usually the one that always hates the movies and everyone else likes them. I am on this show to be the asshole.
Contrary.
So you've delivered, Rachel. Thank you. Even though MZ got to be the asshole as well.
First time Mike says, I enjoy how MZ's love of butt crack is used as a measurement against how he views almost any other movie. That's the measuring stick for MZ.
That is the measuring stick.
MZ's butt crack is used for measurement.
After butt crack, every other movie just pales in comparison.
Yep.
Are you gonna?
I would give Titane 10 out of 10 butt cracks. Yep.
10 out of 10 stray hairs. Evil Courtney says, I saw Titane a couple weeks ago and give it a treat. How do you know if you get a car pregnant? Asking for a friend. You gotta. What's that line from Moving Violations, MZ? You gotta bringing in for a checkup, and what does he say when she brings the car in and moving violations for a checkup?
Oh God, he says a whole slew of things like, we
really lube up the
flush you out, and you gotta lube you up. We gotta
lube up the rear end and take it on the highway.
Yeah.
And
take in about 3 quarts of oil and then go about 25 miles.
I fucking love that movie. I haven't seen that in so long. Linus gives it a big treat. This is a big treat for me. All right, Michael Ravenshadow.
Yeah, Chad knows what's up.
Let's see. What do you say, man?
Once again, Linus is from England, so he knows. But
yeah, so you had to say that before you let him talk.
Yeah.
You could have held off on
Well, you know
Linus's
what it is.
verdict.
Well, you know what it is? He's either going to say trick or treat. He's just not going to know why.
I see Ravenshadow's head sometimes is like one of those magic 8 balls. Like, just shake it. Yeah. Check back later, and that's when he fucking filibusters.
Outlook not good.
Yeah.
We need to get marketing on that. The Raven Shadow head.
Oh my God.
No, I want the Raven Shadow 8 ball. I'll definitely take a hit of that.
Raven Shadow 8 ball.
Yeah. I'll take a. What do you got? So yeah, just kidding. Unless you have some. But I like how it smells. But kidding. This was not a fun movie.
True.
You know,
it didn't have a plucky spirit.
Didn't have passion and plucky spirit. You know what was fun? Shang-Chi, Legend of the fucking 9 fucking rings. That was fun on Disney Plus. You know, he fought shit and fucking all worked out in the end. That was fun. I watched that on Sunday. Sorry, Corny. It was fucking too long for you to jump.
Ravenshadow, did you watch?
We're not talking about the movie.
Wait, Ravenshadow, did you watch the budget version? Because there's 10 rings. I think you only got 9 in yours.
I'm not sure how many rings they were.
Shang-Chi and the 9 rings. You went to the dollar store and bought it or something?
I didn't watch the bonus features. I didn't get it on Blue.
By the way, Linus is from Wales.
Ooh, that's embarrassing.
Wow. Do you know where Wales is, Ravenshadow?
Yeah, it's right above from Sharks. I don't fucking know. I don't know.
Who didn't see that one?
All right, continue.
Is that near Staines? But this fucking movie, though.
Linus says Shang-Chi never fucked a car. That is true. Shang-Chi never fucked a car.
Point Titane.
Maybe in Ravenshadow's 9 Rings version he did.
Yeah, Shang-Chi and the 10 hubcaps. I don't know if I was.
Oh, shit.
We haven't seen this before, right? This is fucking out there. Once again, I don't know who I could recommend this to unless they were certain people that you got to come over like this.
You're not going to watch this on Samurai Night?
Yeah, no, this ain't a Samurai Night movie. But there's some fucking psychos who go to Samurai Night that will be in this. We with this, and like, I thought Vincent was really fucking creepy, man. I didn't like early Vincent a lot. I didn't know what was going on there. I don't know. Like, listen, didn't like it. What was going on there? Although as the story progressed, him being a firefighter made fucking sense. Like there was fucking it totally like, oh, that's why he's a firefighter. Bra fucking oh. And once again, I didn't have fun with this. There was no kung fu. But it made you fucking think, and there was some fucking deep fucking, like Monster Zero likes to say, suffer for your art. And there was some powerful performance. Everybody was fucking strong. Vincent shooting
roids.
Yeah. Nothing. We saw a lot of butt. You like it too. I mean, there's butt crack in this movie. You should have endured this. But I'm not saying I'm gonna put it on Thanksgiving in the background. Like, hey, you know, have some pepperoni and cheese. Put some fucking this on. Then we'll watch, Harry Potter afterwards. It's not for that. It's certain selected people, and I would almost want to watch it again. I almost want to watch it again with Aries, just to fucking dissect it from the beginning. That could be weird, but once again, it got Aries. Thank you.
This is your verdict.
I'm sorry, just give you a verdict.
No, I'm trying to bring everybody along. I want to bring Aries in because I feel all right. There was some shit here. There was some fucking shit here, and it wasn't fun and it wasn't funny. But this was a powerful fucking film, and I may watch it once. I'm not gonna watch it 3 times, but it was a fucking weird, surreal, fucked up Fear and Loathing in whatever the fuck.
Fear and Loathing in whatever the fuck.
Yeah, fucked up. It was fucked up, man.
All right, so there you go. By the way, did you watch it with Marianne Raven Shadow?
No. She hasn't watched it yet. Maybe we'll watch it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah. I was gonna say.
So wait, was that a trick or a treat?
Yeah,
you never know with him.
Say.
I think it was I said treat, right? I say what I said.
All right.
Okay,
You didn't really say.
Oh, it looks like I'm gonna be the tiebreaker here.
Oh no!
You feel like I just gave birth to a car.
What kind of car, MZ?
A Studebaker.
One of those.
A gremlin. Knowing MZ's luck, he'll give birth to a gremlin and it'll pop out, hit the back, and the gas tank will fucking blow up and explode him.
Oh, so it'll be.
Oh, that's the Pacer.
Oh, the Pacer. I'm sorry. Yeah, of course, the Pacer. I remember that scene from Top Secret, right?
Pinto, not Pacer. Pinto.
Yes.
That's okay.
My
Yeah.
bad.
Okay. Gremlin, Pinto. Yeah. Anyways,
They're all shitty cars from that era.
I really fucking like this movie. If it wasn't obvious, it is a big treat for me, and this is so bizarre. It like I literally had no idea where this is going, right up until the very end, and this is a film that is just steeped in subtext, and I couldn't even fully grasp all of it. There's so much going on here that I think that it'll take another viewing to sort of unpack some more of it. But what was present, I thought, was really well executed. The performances were outstanding. The direction was outstanding. And it's pretty rare when a director can drop 2 films like this that are so not only divisive, but impactful and fucking like tour de forces, like with this, with Raw and this, like she has basically come out and be like, bam, here I am. Like, try to ignore me. You can't. And she just has a very strong vision. I cannot wait to see what she's going to do next, because these 2 films are very unique and very different. And I love that they exist, and I love that we're able to see films like this. And yeah, I just can't wait for what she's going to do next. This is such a strong directing job on her end, and also writing job. I mean, I don't know how fucking difficult it was to write this movie and to have it like make some semblance of sense to most people. I know it's not going to work for everybody, but like, yeah.
I just see that beard going.
Oh yeah, it just sways as it swings.
Yeah, but no, this is a big time treat for me. So there you have it, 3 treats and 2 tricks.
All right.
So it's maybe a little bit better than I thought. I thought it might have been more like 2 to 3 on the other end of things. But Raven Shadow, you've been expanding, man, your repertoire.
Yeah, I've been trying to branch out, but this is fucking. I mean, this movie is not like anything else. Like, it's what the fuck? What the fuck? Like, it's outrageous. It's outrageous. Everyone's out of their fucking minds. I want to hear the fucking commentary. I want that commentary track.
Even if it's in French?
Well.
So, all right, well, that is going to wrap up our discussion of Titane. I'm not positive what we're doing next week yet, because we may or may not have a guest, because it is Thanksgiving week. So it's been a little difficult to pin down. But we'll figure out in the next couple days, and then we'll announce on social media what our next film is going to be. And next week is the last week before we get to December. So you guys all better get ready because we're doing 2 films a week starting in December. I know. Yeah, Aries fucking hates it. Aries, I'll tell you this. I'll try my best to not give you 2 subtitle films in a week. I'll try not to give you.
How about no subtitles, motherfucker?
Aries is that guy. He can't do subtitles. Oh, you
don't
can.
like 'em.
You can, but you don't like them.
Yeah, I don't like them.
You're such an old curmudgeon. You fit,
Oh, yeah.
you fit it so well.
Oh God, you know what? Yeah, fucking call me whatever you fucking want. I don't fucking like subtitles. I want to fucking disappear into a movie. I don't want to fucking go from the looking up and down. Fucking just let me look.
Looking up and down. Oh man. So we're not positive yet, but we will announce it on social media. And then December's coming, so everyone get ready. All right, so we do have a few voice messages, so we will get to those. First up, let's see, we're going to hear from our buddy Tim from Melbourne, Tim Chuma. And Tim's going to check in with us, and let's find out what's going on down under or in the future right now.
Bombaleo, Tim from Melbourne here again. Yeah, I heard no one sent in a voicemail last week, so I thought I'd rectify that. Yeah, it's my birthday weekend, so
happy
I
birthday!
Didn't really get the time to do my usual reviews. I watched Lion Spy about a woman who's infiltrated the lion hunting industry in Africa. Yeah, it's all right, but they kind of dump donate money to the lions at the end. That doesn't really solve it. And I finally got to see the movie Possession on Blu-ray, the new Umbrella release. Yeah, I kind of got sucked into the whole thing about this movie. Seems just like a con, though. It's the one hot friend everyone's trying to get into bed with, and it's excusing their terrible behaviour, but they won't. What they won't say, that's the reason, but that is. And feel like that it's just been sold as something that's not. It's just, I don't know, I Hate My Wife movie. But, yeah, I've seen it now, so I don't think I'll keep the Blu-ray even. Alright, thanks. Yeah, it's my birthday tomorrow. Alright, thanks, bye.
Well, so Tim left us a few days ago, so he already has had his birthday, but happy birthday to you, Tim, and as always, it's good to check in and see what you're watching and what you're digging. MZ, you're a fan of Possession, aren't you? Or am I mistaken?
Possessor?
No, Possession.
Oh.
He's talking about the re-release. I assume he's talking about the re-release that just came out, the 1981 movie.
Oh. You know what? I don't even remember seeing it yet. I don't think I've seen it yet.
Oh, okay.
Or if I have, I've forgotten all about it.
Yeah, it just got a 4K release, so that's. I assume that's the one he's referring to because I know a lot of people have been posting about that. So, how about
Yes.
How about you, Rachel? Are you familiar with Possession? I've actually never seen it. So.
Yeah. It has some really cool body horror in it. I think it's like Brian Usna. But it's pretty misogynistic. So I'm not a super big fan of it. But I think it's an interesting movie. Like, if you want to see it. It is an I Hate My Wife movie. And yeah, he was right about that.
What was the title of that one?
Jesus Christ.
Things are coming together for me.
Possession, Aries from 1981. There you go. 4K release.
AKA Sam Neill screams for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Sam.
All right. So next, we are going to check in with EF Contentment. I think EF is going to give us his thoughts on Titane. Well, I hope he is because I love hearing that dude talk about movies. So let's check in with our boy EF.
Hello, lady and gentlemen. This is EF, and I realize that I've only called in the past year to give negative comments about the films that you guys covered, and that's purely coincidental and bad timing on my part. I just call in whenever I can call in, and it just happens to be when the movies suck. But Titane or Titane or Titane or Titane, whatever the case, however you pronounce the title, it's a good movie.
Titane.
I thought it was going to be one kind of movie, and then it became another, and I was never less than 110% interested in what would happen next, and it's a pretty crazy movie. I'm sure the name Cronenberg got thrown a lot in regards to this movie during your discussion. It certainly gets thrown a lot by the general vox populi, but I think specifically the body horror aspect is where that comes from, but I also think it shares a problem that Cronenberg's earlier work suffered from, and that's an overwhelmingly icy coldness that never goes away, even when it seems like the writer-director, Rick Dukeman or whatever the fuck her name is, whenever she's going for something more, poignant, it still gets overwhelmed by that icy cold tone to it. But maybe that's the point. Maybe that's what she's going for. But it's a minor quibble. Otherwise, this film is audacious as fuck, and it gets plenty of points for that. Plus, it's got something to say about how we humans are ultimately so fragile, we'll accept an obvious fucking lie if it'll bring us comfort. It's like our need to believe in something, regardless of the overwhelming evidence to the contrary staring us in the face, that leads to such a destructive concept as faith. And a chick fucks cars in it. So there you go. Take care and be well.
I thought that was, first of all, brilliant, EF. I think that is that's something we didn't cover, and I actually I had sort of thought about that when I was watching it, but you put it very eloquently. And yeah, we will absolutely believe a fucking lie if it's what we want, right? Or I just think he put it so well. And Raven, I know you're a big fan of EF.
Yeah, and believing in lies. So
and believing in lies. Well, Aries told you when you both were very young that smoking would make you cool. So he'd been believing that lie for a while.
No. Do
you still think it makes you cool, Raven Shadow?
All right, just me. Fine.
As long as you feel cool, that's all that matters, right?
No, but secondhand smoke does lead to secondhand coolness, by the way. Just throwing it out.
These are the facts. Surgeon General says so.
Thank you.
Is that what
Thank you.
Is that what you tell Oliver, your dog?
Yeah, well, he doesn't. He's a dog. You don't understand English.
Jesus, he understands cancer.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Actually, my dog Rachel is a Bichon, so he's French. So he's a fan of the French extraction. And
maybe he can explain Titane to us then. Get him in here. It's not too late. Get him on the mic.
He hasn't been on the mic tonight. I'm surprised.
I saw him running around. He's cute.
Yeah. All right, we do have one more voice message, and Raven Shadow, it's from your boy from Wales.
Oh, stop it!
The one you're going to meet in the middle of the fucking ocean on a raft.
My baby.
Let's hear from Linus.
Hey up, trick-or-treaters. This is Linus calling in from Brexit Island. Chiming in on the last few weeks' worth of movies. First up, The Green Knight. It's one of my favorites of the year. If you're not a scholar of arthurology like Raven Shadow claims to be, then I recommend a really cool analysis video on the Novum channel on YouTube. The Night House, I thought, same as the rest of you guys, that was really top stuff, and I'm really looking forward to Bruckner's take on Hellraiser. That lady that was mates with King Kong gave a great performance. The Deep House had some nice underwater photography, but other than that, sucked a haunted lake full of dicks. Yeah, no, big disappointment. Fucking shit house. This week, Titane, great stuff. Loved it. Reminded me of the kind of like weird Euro cinema that I'd stay up late as a teenager to watch on TV. It was absurd, transgressive, and even kind of sweet. If I had to predict how you guys would react to it, I'd say MZ would be a treat. Wolfie, probably a treat, maybe towards the tepid side. Aries, definitely a trick. And Raven Shadow will say some words. Other than that, I saw Last Night in Soho at the cinema, which I absolutely loved. I think it's Edgar Wright's best film and his least Edgar Wright film. If you don't like Edgar Wright films, it was pure fucking joy. I came out of the cinema beaming. Just great stuff. And yeah, I've been enjoying the Aries Raven Shadow heat that's been building these last few weeks, and I hope you guys don't have to settle it in the ring. Anyway, cheers. Have a good show.
Awesome line is. I gotta quote him on that. What did he say about the deep house? An ocean full of ghost dicks or something?
Yeah.
Suck a lake full of dicks or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
on
God,
a
I
scale of
almost wrote
butt
that
crack
down.
to lake full of ghost dicks, his accent is lake full, or no, butt crack all the way.
All right, play back the message. Play back the entire message. Come
on. It's interesting. Actually, we would have if Last Night in Soho had come out like a week earlier. It's coming out on VOD tomorrow. If it had come out, that's the one that Rachel would have picked. So
yeah. Aries could have hated me for a whole other set of reasons.
Yeah. But at least you wouldn't have had to read subtitles, right, Aries?
Exactly.
So maybe we'll tackle Last Night in Soho sometime in December. But yeah, glad to hear that people are digging it. Evil Corny says, I loved Last Night in Soho. Linus says, so good. And First Time Mike says, that's a fair assessment of the beach house, Linus. Or the deep house, I think he means. Yeah, he says, sucked a haunted lake full of dicks.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
We're just a t-shirt printing machine tonight.
Can we go back and change last week's episode title? Like,
you can't say that.
can't print that.
You can't say that. Oh man, that's so good. Yeah, we'll go retroactively change the episode title, or it could be this week's episode title. All right, well that is. Let me just double check. Sometimes we get some late voice messages. That's it. So that's it for voice message. So thank you to Linus, EF Contentment, and Tim Chuma. It's always good to hear from you guys. We heard from 3 different countries. That's pretty awesome. We heard from Australia. We heard from Wales specifically, and then also EF on the West Coast there. So pretty awesome. So it's good to hear from you folks. If any of you guys want to get in on the fun next week or any of the other future episodes, podcast at trickortreatradio.com, or you can go to the trickortreatradio.com website, and you can leave a voice message right on the website. Just click the contact button and then voice message. So, all right. Well, sadly, that is we're gonna kind of wind things down here. So, I do want to big thanks to Rachel. This was a ton of fun. I think you brought out the best in everyone, and we had a very fun episode. Oh, well, Raven Shadow's giving you standing. Oh, look at this.
Aw, Raven Shadow.
He's bowing. Look at this. What?
Oh, come on. Take that, swearwolves.
Yeah, actually, did you bow for the swearwolves? I don't remember.
No,
Good, they're cool, but no, Rachel fucking, fucking game. Just saying.
Oh man. Linus says George Lucas that shit. Talk about changing the episode title. Oh man. So Yeah, so Rachel, once again, tell folks about your podcasts, where they can find them, where they can find you, all that good stuff.
Awesome. Well, you can find me. Our website is zombiegrrlz.com. It's GRRLZ. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter and all the social medias at ZG Podcasts. And if you do, you can check out our podcasts, which are the Zombie Grrlz, where it's kind of like this vibe a little bit, where it's a group of us talking about just various horror films. Our next episode is about parasites, so you can just listen to my spirit leave my body. So that'll be fun. And then we've got Stream Queens, which is just, like I said, streaming horror, more deadly, women-directed horror, Untitled Nick Cage movies, or just Nick Cage movies, and the Cast of Caw. I already did the spiel. I don't want to put you all through it again. You know the deal. Google me.
We're going to start the Untitled Nick Cave show.
I like it.
And we'll also do the Untitled Nick Gage show, who is a wrestler. So.
Thank you, Johnny. I was going to go there too.
That is a thing I definitely knew.
We'll break down all of his matches. So everyone go check out Rachel and check out her podcast. And also, as I mentioned earlier, if you want to see the best VOD calendar out there for horror and genre cinema, go check out the website zombiegrrlz.com, and then right there you can just click right at the top. It says right there VOD calendar. Just click on that, and it's just set up so easily. It's by month, and then it gives you the day of the month it's coming out, which is awesome. And then also at the top there you have sort of the recent releases. So if people want to check out what came out in the last several months, they can also see that. And so you also have links. If people click on the poster, it'll bring them to where they can actually watch it. Or if it's an upcoming, typically you link to like IMDb or something. So to get more info. So so if you guys want to check out all the upcoming releases, so you can plan out your viewing, it's for my money, or lack thereof in this case, it is the best. The best one out there. So give it a look.
Oh, thank you.
And help plan your viewing. All right. So we will go around and we will say goodbye. And you guys can do your thing. And you can say goodbye to Rachel. And we'll kind of wind things up here. So let's start with MZ.
Thank you, Rachel, for showing up tonight. Really appreciate it. You were a wonderful guest.
Thank you.
And to that, arrivederci, douchebags.
Follows it up so nicely. Oh man, that is that goodbye is evergreen. It'll always work. All right, Aries.
Rachel, thank you for showing up. Thank you for not hanging up on us. And if you do need a slightly offbeat feminine take on things, I am always available.
Right.
Very offbeat, like off the beaten path.
But that being said, good night all.
All right, Raven Shadow.
Yo, I just want to say once again, happy birthday, first time Mike. It wasn't mentioned before, but he had a birthday that passed recently. And I also want to thank Rachel again for being on and making us sound like less dummies than we sound. So until next time, live fast, love hard, survive with your mask on.
Look at that. Everyone listening just chanted along with you to your catchphrase, Raven Shadow. Actually, hold on. Raven Shadow, I'm going to try something here. I know MZ's going to be fucking pissed, but you know what? Raven Shadow, do it one more time. Say your catchphrase one more time.
Live fast, love hard, survive with your mask on.
Tell us what to do. You think you can tell us what to win? Think you better? Well, you better get ready to bow to the master.
Oh man, never fucking fails. Raven Shadow will go fucking nuts whenever he hears that song.
Listen, don't do that in front of Rachel.
Raven Shadow, stand up right now.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to perform for you.
Do the dance that Alexi did in the beginning on the car. Do that on the table there.
Make it clap.
Make it clap.
I'm not as sexy as her in either form.
That much is true.
Or in that, yeah, don't do. That's a wrestling reference.
All right, well there you go, Raven Shadow. I thought you'd like a little theme song after your catchphrase.
Yeah, don't do it. The thing we do.
All right, well, that is going to do it for the episode 486 of Trick or Treat Radio. Once again, huge thanks to Rachel for coming out and putting up with a bunch of assholes like us for the duration of the show. It means a lot, and it was just great to be able to chat with you for a change since we've been exchanging messages. So it was really awesome. Appreciate that you chose Titane, and we had despite two people who didn't who gave it a trick, I think we had a very interesting conversation. So that's what matters. Doesn't matter what you think of the movie. It really just matters how the conversation goes, and this one went well. So I do appreciate that. So everyone go check out the Zombie Grrlz and also that VOD calendar. And that is going to do it. So big thanks to everyone who left a voice message tonight, everyone who tuned in live. We had a pretty raucous crowd hanging out, so we appreciate you guys. And also to especially our Patreon supporters and everyone who's going to listen to the podcast on Friday when it drops or whenever you listen to it. We appreciate you guys. So that is going to do it, and we will be back next week, maybe with or without a guest. I'm not sure, and we'll let you guys know what the movie is during the week. Until then, see ya.
I'll be back. I'll make Gary watch it again.